This is navigating the claims process. I want to remind everybody that our webinars we try to do them monthly. The webinars are archived on our corporate website, which is tcat.com. And if you know of someone or you'd like to refer back to some of this information or somebody that may find it useful, please visit our website, and we'll get those archived for you as soon as possible. Okay. My name is Jeff Chester, and I am Vice President of ACT. I'm also one of the founders of the company, and for the past 13 years we've experienced hundreds of losses, from the size of toilet overflows to Hurricane Katrina, and I've seen a lot of positive losses, and I've also seen confusion, I've seen frustration, and today we're going to cover a few tips that will hopefully help us have a more positive experience. Our main topic, putting together some things we can do proactively before the claim, and we'll also talk about subrogation, do's and don'ts, and we'll emphasize choices that you as the client have during the claims process. And then at the end we'll do a little Q&A. All right, putting together the team for a smooth claims process. There are typically, let's say you've had a fire or a flood, and whether you're hospitality, you have a hotel, or you're healthcare, senior living, commercial property, you've had an incident, and what you need now is to get your business back up and running. You need to get rooms back in service, areas cleaned or dried out. And what's the fastest way to get the team together? Well, the key people in this decision-making process are going to be the owners of the property or the management group, your corporate team. You're going to have your maintenance staff, your engineer, your physical plant manager, depending on the size of your organization. You're going to have a representative or a couple of representatives from the insurance side, which will be typically your adjuster, your broker, or even possibly your agent. And then you've got the restoration contractor, a company like ACT, or it could be ACT, that is ready to take care of the damage to the property and get things back up and running. Now, teamwork is always the goal, but when you get insurance companies and vendors together, even though I think the goal for everybody is to close the claim and move it forward, the insurance company at times will have its list of priorities. The client has its list of priorities, and the adjuster's trying to keep, or the restoration guy is trying to keep everybody happy and on budget. So the first thing that needs to happen with this team, this group, is let's create a recovery plan. Let's talk exactly about what the scope of the damage is, and let's all communicate about what the plan is, what the timelines are. First and foremost, safety. We want to make sure that as the restoration process, the recovery process, the rebuilding takes place, that we do it safely. Especially if you're in a healthcare environment, you want to make sure that you've considered everything from dementia care, memory loss, Alzheimer's units, security issues. Same with hospitality. You want to think about fire and life safety, access and egress. Let's make sure that we've addressed what's important safety-wise during the duration of the project. Let's determine exactly what needs to be done. This is important both for the adjuster, who's going to be putting a price to covering the work to be done, and the restoration contractor who's going to be doing the work. We want to make sure as a restoration company that we're communicating clearly with the insurance company. that they get no surprises. We do that by thorough documentation. We make sure that our procedures and drying processes are the latest technologically, that our equipment does its job, and that the insurance company approves of our methodology and our pricing. We want to set up a timeline for the completion of the work. It isn't just it's done when it's done. Let's all put our heads together and have a target in mind and be working towards that target every day. We want to talk about business interruption and continuity considerations. Understanding your business coverage is important, and your broker or agent can help you with that. And we want to make sure that the restoration company fully understands the impact on your business, and that we need to look at putting a positive image of your business, of your branding, to your clients during the process. This may include putting up barriers so that the work that's going on is out of sight and out of mind. It may include dealing with odors and smells, or the volume of noise during the time that we're working. If you're in hospitality or healthcare, we know that there are certain times that are better than others to make noise. So we want to get the input from your staff on how are we going to minimize the impact of this event on your staff and your clients. And then we want to talk about the progress, give everybody daily updates. There may be a time each morning where a couple of people from your staff need to meet with a couple of people from the restoration team. Just what we got accomplished yesterday, here's what we plan on doing today. Let's look out for anything that might be an issue for the staff or the clients. You guys should never be out of the loop. You should be taken care of. Okay, here's the thing, a couple of things that we can do before the claim that I know for me as a restoration contractor, a lot of the companies that we work for have a brand standard. And what I mean by that is, if they're in hospitality, for example, whether they're a Marriott, a Hyatt, or a Hilton, they may, I'm going to back up there. They have a certain carpet, certain wallpaper that they need to use, and in advance, it's good to meet with your restoration company. You should not be finding your restoration company during the disaster. We talk about this from time to time, that the worst time to exchange business cards is during a disaster. And so meet with your restoration contractor. Find out who in that company is going to be personally responsible for your satisfaction. And that is a person, one throat to choke in that company that you can go to and say, I need you now, and I need you to make sure this happens well. Walk through your facility. You guys notice my PowerPoint must have a timer on this slide, so I apologize for that. Walk through the facility with that restoration guy and find out if there is special wallpaper that needs to be ordered. Find out where to order it and if it's available. You need to have some special ordered. Do you have some on hand? Same with the carpet, your baseboards, and your fixtures. Think about a couple of rooms or a couple of areas or 10 areas being wiped out by fire or smoke damage and being gutted. How are we going to get the same things that we need back in that room? Talk about having a basic understanding of your insurance coverage, what's covered and what isn't. Okay, let's talk a little bit about subrogation. Subrogation simply means to go back and assign responsibility. I hesitate to use the word blame, but typically subrogation issues arises from, let's say, a floor heater that short circuits. It's miswired, it was unsafe, and it caused a fire. your insurance company is going to look and see if the root cause of the fire or water damage can be assigned to a faulty product, and then the insurance company can go to the manufacturer of that company and say, look, your product failed, it caused this much damage, we're sending you a bill. And there are a lot of different things that can fail during, you know, that can become responsible for fires and floods and such. Maybe it's just if you look at this picture of this little fitting, the price tag is 79 cents. Well, that cracked 79 cents item can do $79,000 worth of water damage if it's under the right circumstances. You see a picture of a subrogation expert or a fire investigator looking at this electrical item that may or may not have caused the fire. Or, you know, notorious hose water supply to a washing machine. Those items need to be taken into account. So here are the things to do after a water loss. First of all, you want to decide where was the source of the water loss, where was the source of the fire. That area, we usually call it the source room or the source area. And the things to do is, first of all, before you even go into an area like that, determine if it's safe to be in. Take a lot of pictures if it is safe. Document what you see and get statements from people as to what exactly happened. I know a lot of our hospitality clients, when there's a sprinkler line break, first thing they ask is, you know, how did it happen? Did someone hang some clothing on a sprinkler right next to a sign that said, do not hang clothing on sprinkler? I often am reminded of a hotel where a collegiate golf team was staying on one of the upper floors, and one of the aspiring young golfers was practicing his swing, and he took out a sprinkler head above him with a 9-iron and caused a lot of damage to that hotel. So the subrogation experts came in, and, you know, the poor kid is like, yeah, I did it. So, you know, insurance company goes against insurance company, goes against reinsurance, and all of that isn't your responsibility. Typically, your insurance company's they're very good at that. But for you, get statements right away, you know, after the loss has occurred, and document it. Now, some of the things that you should not do during a subrogation process is don't touch anything in the source area until the cause and origin investigators have arrived and done their thing. They're usually the fire department. If it's a fire, will do the initial investigation and document their findings. Then the insurance company will typically send out what they call a CNO guy or gal, and that's for cause and origin. They want to get out there and find out exactly what happened, why it happened. Now, sometimes the loss won't be big enough for all of these extra investigators and stuff to come in, and it may be a simple water loss, staff's handling, and it may be a week or two before an adjuster gets out. Usually what I tell our clients when they call in and they say, we've got a plumber on the way to fix it, I tell them, if you can, take a lot of pictures of the broken water line. If it's a frozen water line, take a picture of that line. If they come out and they need to repair it immediately, then tell them not to throw away the broken fitting or the broken pipe. Tell them that you would like to have possession of that when they're done with it. And that's something that you can give to your boss and you can give to the insurance company or whatever to help with the subrogation issues. So be sensitive to an area that needs to be investigated, but also do your very best to interview people, document, and take pictures as well. Okay, as we wrap up today's webinar, one of the things that I want to remind you is that as a client, you have a lot of choice. Some people choose to just call the insurance company and let them make the choices for them. Insurance companies are typically more than glad to do that. But I always recommend that people have relationships in advance. If an insurance company has a restoration company, for example, that they want to bring in on the job, and you've already got a relationship with someone that you trust, you need to realize that it's your choice. You do not have to feel pressured by an insurance adjuster to use a company that they're referring to or that they have a relationship with. It's always your choice as a client. And the adjuster works for you. It's not vice versa. Just because he's the guy that writes the check, he is still a vendor of you. He is a part of something that you paid for each time your company pays their insurance premiums, and he's there to serve you. You know, clearly we understand that at ACT that all of us that are on this claims team should have one goal, and that's 100% client satisfaction. We need to get in and get out and return your property to a pre-loss condition as soon as possible. Some of the things to talk about with the adjuster when you get these guys together, your point person, the restoration vendor, is, guys, how do we minimize business interruption? Second of all, who needs money to get this ball rolling? If it's a big enough loss, there may be some what we call draws on the claim to make sure that all the vendors have what they need to get started and that money isn't holding up turning this problem around. Communication is vital. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is at ACT is being very transparent and giving daily updates whenever possible. The cost is also important. Just because it's an insurance claim doesn't mean that it's very important for each vendor to be a good steward of the cost. So a company that's doing work for you needs to be transparent. They need to give some pricing up front. And at ACT, we try as quickly as possible to help the insurance company set a reserve number so they know what they're dealing with and they can act accordingly. And again, like I said, the choice is yours when it comes to vendors. Make sure that you find, when it comes to restoration, you know, I always say it's one thing to know who your restoration company is, but do they know who you are? Have they taken time to find out what's important to you, what's unique about the business that you're in, and how they can best serve you in your time of need? So we'll take some questions and answers. We'll take some questions and hopefully give you some answers. I'm going to open up the chat box and see if we have any questions here. If you have a question, just feel free to put in a comment to the chat box, and we'll get right on that. I'm not seeing anybody pop in right away. So let me just say this, that I'm going to switch over to my email address. Again, my name is Jeff Chester. If you guys have questions or you're thinking about something maybe not related to what we've talked about, I'm always available. You can contact me via email at jchester@actcat.com. You can also reach me. My direct line is 316-613-3902. I'd love to talk to you. Maybe you're someone who heard about our webinar on LinkedIn or one of our updates, and you're not a client of ACT, but you'd like to learn a little bit more about what ACT has to offer. Then check out our website at actcat.com, and also remember that we're going to be archiving this website. We mentioned that at the beginning. And let's see here. I'm getting a message. I want to open that up. Okay. I'll be providing this PowerPoint to our tech team. They're going to get it uploaded, like we were saying earlier. And I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. Like I said, our website, we also have an overview video on the front page of our website that tells you a little bit about who ACT is and what we can do for you as a client. So with that, I want to thank you guys for joining us. Keep an eye out for an invite to next month's webinar. And remember, ACT is in the business of putting your world back very much.